Hey, it's Tuesday. We're back again live at Two Fish here in the shop. I've got Robert Prothero with me. Dave is behind the boards putting everything together. Give him a hello, Dave.
How's it going?
He said, hello, Dave. Hey, today we're going to continue to go through our budgeting for cybersecurity series, especially wanting to help small and medium-sized businesses have the tools that they need in order to navigate through this cybersecurity world, knowing what tools are available, what the tools do, and how to get those all stacked in together. In the future, so remember this, and I'm going to go over it again later on, we won't be meeting next week, and then the week after we're going to start a new series on on dental orthodontists, working with, if you've got a dental practice or an orthodontic group practice, what are those things that you especially need to look for in your cybersecurity needs? Two Fish Technology has several dental clients. We work really great with them, been able to take their cybersecurity needs and streamline that into the third-party softwares that they're working with. So, but let's get started. You may hear a little bit of an echo. We're going to work with that and try to get that solved down. But hey, kicking it off, we've been talking a lot about budget, Robert. What's the biggest budgeting mistake that you see small, medium-sized businesses making?
Well, kind of like in the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so that we've been going through this, we've been kind of talking about the similar types of things, but the biggest one is that I think that companies think they can buy a piece of hardware, a piece of software, put it in, and it just establishes everything that they need. That is number one, is thinking that that is the end all. Well, you know, the biggest factor actually to cybersecurity problems actually comes from employee mistakes. Mm-hmm. It comes from sending an email and they click on a certain button which launches something that you don't want launched into your system. So that's one of the biggest ones. So really, kind of like the second one is ignoring your employee training. And so it's not expensive. You do need to train employees on how to read an email and the things to look for and the things to watch for, right? And then the other things we're going to talk about is the compliance and the insurance aspect of this, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
All right. We keep hammering on, don't think that you're covered just because you bought a piece of software. The human element lets in 85% of all risks. And so that training piece, that's been a big takeaway for me in the last few weeks. Is just the training has to be put up. And it's maybe not fun, but Two Fish Technology has a great training program that they can implement into a small or medium-sized
That is
business.
great. And don't say that we're playing down the software piece, because we are not. Software and hardware is vital. It is vitally important because it does things that humans cannot do.
Right.
On the other side. But the human factor is really a bigger factor.
The human factor is the bigger factor.
That's right.
So when we talk about the human piece and eliminating that in some of our cybersecurity tools, we're talking about automations. And while let's just keep in mind that Two Fish's cybersecurity stack has automations and intelligence, automated intelligence learning. Excuse me, I'm getting my words all jumbled up here. The Two Fish Technology stack includes a human element and an automated element.
That's right.
We take that automated element and we use it because we don't have the same mistakes that could be made within the human element. Let's say, crunching numbers faster, being able to see that entire network pipeline, but then we also have the human element in there to back that
That's
up.
right. And really the automated element is a consistency element. Mm-hmm. And consistency makes the biggest difference in the world. The human element is actually, it's just somebody not paying attention.
Yeah.
and they end up clicking. But in terms of I mean, how can automation save money? Automation is kind of like when when you're doing automatic patch updates on your computer. When your computer, as opposed to, let's just say that you have um, a I sorry about that. I'm actually trying to come up with a good example. So let's just say that in the days of having a computer, and as you use it, the computer starts slowing down or getting bogged down, and you have to have somebody come in and to be able to take care of that. Today we have automated tools that do that automatically. We have automated things like encrypted backups that you don't have to push a button to do it. And because, again, it's about consistency. It's about real-time threat alerts. And all of those things, it's a warning of suspicious things. And so automation can warn you of things that a human cannot see, such as there's a rogue device on your network, or there's somebody logging in that is actually a suspicious login. And really the last thing is it's less manual work, and so it makes it faster, better, and more uptime. So that's really what automation does. It just makes it faster. It makes it more consistent.
Well, I think the consistency piece, if you can keep that going and be consistent in your processes, that's something that we always talk about here, is how can we be more consistent in our processes? How can we work at a high level all the time? And that's what those automations are supposed to do. Work at that high level baseline without making simple mistakes.
And a company kind of like Two Fish basically is, we push our customers to be consistent.
Yeah.
Our systems automatically help them to get that way. I hate to say we force the issue, because our customers can be rebellious just like anybody else. But we encourage that. We encourage them to get their training and to get the automation put into their systems, and it protects them, but it protects us as a company too.
Well, it just takes one time to be ransomed.
Yep.
And it can shut your business down.
Right.
It only takes that one time to lock up your entire network to ruin everything that you've worked for.
That's right.
So I can understand why that consistency has to take place. Hey folks, we do have an echo, and I really apologize about that. Here at Two Fish Technology, we're running with all the tools that we have and making best use of those. But we're going to work on it. We're going to get it fixed up. We're not pros. What we are pros at is cybersecurity. And that's why we want to bring this to you. What we're not pros at is putting together podcasts and filming those, but we sure do have a fun time doing it. Dave's
learning on the fly.
Dave's learning on the fly, and all of us are.
Yeah.
We want to help you learn on the fly. Stick with us. Just stick with us, and we hope this content does some good for you and your small business. So how do I train my team without broach as confidently as they should? Is cost. Because when you're purchasing cybersecurity, you aren't seeing something in return on that money whenever things are working well. It's only when things aren't working, or whenever you have a bad actor, that you see some return on that money. But it's not like a normal outflow of cash that a business likes to spend. So how do we know that we're going to spend some money? How do we get comfortable with that? And how do we do this training without breaking the bank?
Well, that's interesting, because we have clients that are running so smoothly that they question the price that they pay us. And the funny thing is that we have to go in and say, well, the reason that you're running so smoothly
Is because
is because of the price that you pay. So there are both of those sides, but there are ways and there are tools that you can go out and do this on your own. You don't have to use ours necessarily. So, I mean, you can do your own phishing test. The number one, about 65% of all breaches come in through what is called phishing. A email comes in that is Wells Fargo. It looks like Wells Fargo. It looks like your bank, acts like your bank. You click on the button and it loads something on your computer that you didn't want to happen. So there are tests that you can actually use to test your employees whether they would click on those or not. And there's a couple of them in here, and we have a couple of them listed here. One of them is called KnowBe4, and it's on a website, I guess, KnowBe4, and then PhishMe. And so those are real-time tests that are actually free phishing tests, and you can go out on your own. You can go find those. You can test your own employees. You can do all that type of stuff. And so we're not saying that we're doing anything that you cannot do. I believe our tools are better, but these tools are sufficient to get some training done.
right.
That's exactly it.
And that's at Two Fish, we believe in our tools, and we would love to assist more people and more business in setting those tools up for them. But we want you to be, first and foremost, be secure, and running some free phishing tests for your employees just to see where you are. That gives you a baseline, and now where can I start spending my limited amount of budget?
There you go.
Monthly micro trainings. Those are something that while I've always found that those are something that they don't have to spend a lot of time on, but you're still getting more out of it than if you would have spent 2 hours in one tranche of time.
You're exactly right. There are literally hundreds of websites out there that have little videos that will help you to train and to help you to do all that. So those things are things that you don't really have to pay for. A lot of them are free. A lot of them are great information. They're great advice. The number 3 thing right there, it says think before you click.
Think before you click.
Yeah. I have a daughter. My youngest daughter is a programmer, and she works for a big company. And if you're from Amarillo, you'll know which company this is, even though that she now lives in Kansas City, working for the same company. But she was home over the past weekend, and one thing that I noticed, which is interesting, is that when she left her computer went into a mode to where it had flashing ads on top of her screen. And the ads were think before you click. The ads were be careful with what you're doing. Be a superhero when it comes to think. They actually advertise through their screens, through all of their screens, their software screens and everything. They advertise to their own employees about think before they do something, because they understand the importance of what this training is. And it just makes me laugh because I go through there and all of the ads with Superman on it, and the ads with a big cowboy saying "Make my day," and stuff. I mean, it's really funny. And so, but they teach their employees just by they put their employees in remembrance by doing things like that.
Reinforcing the mindset by advertising to their own employees.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. Well, they have hundreds of employees.
And that's brings back focus on consistency, not cost. Small efforts done regularly make a big impact.
That's right.
And that's a small effort to just have that simple reminder on your screensaver. Hey, you live in a world where phishing attempts happen. Be wary.
Yeah, one of them says, slow down. Think before you click.
Probably a good thing for all.
You're exactly right. That's interesting.
Train your team with Two Fish. Affordable, effective, and built for real-world threats. Thanks for those reminders, Dave. All right, here's our next one. MSP versus DIY. What's better for SMBs? A lot of acronyms there. We had our acronym show a while back. We probably need another one, but walk us through it's for me, it's a one-stop shop versus putting everything together myself. And a lot of times I think, oh, well, I'm capable of putting all this together myself. I can make good decisions. I know how to spend my own budget.
And you're also a good accountant.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Right.
Great accountant.
So you're really good at doing accounting work, but you're really good also at doing some cybersecurity, right, and stuff like that. So yeah, DIY, do it yourself, is basically somebody that says, hey, I'm going to buy my own antivirus. I'm going to put it on there. I want to buy my own remote access product so I can remote into my computer from the house. And I want to buy my, and that is certainly possible. You can go shop and you can find all of these products separately. But then if you notice number 3, because I'm looking at it, you're juggling multiple vendors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little, if you have 8 different products on your computer as opposed to one that has all of those included, then, it's a little bit more time consuming. It's a little bit more apt that you're going to not see something.
Are you more likely to slow down your system in that scenario?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, because computers are typically fast enough to run those, but it could be on certain computers, you're right. And so, but I think the big thing is that, all of these products reporting together and working together is really what an MSP brings. They bring a managed product together. Mm-hmm. All of them work together. The employee training, from the antivirus working with the endpoint detection, and all of those products working together and talking together and reporting to each other. And so all of those things, if you're piecemealing it together, they're not going to do that.
Well, explain to me the leaving critical gaps in DIY. I'm assuming that this is because you may not see the entire landscape. If you're
Correct.
Not a security expert and can see that entire landscape, I would be afraid of leaving a gap in something. And if you're not doing regular pen testing, you may not know it's even there, I guess.
You're exactly right. And so, the gaps that you're actually able to leave is mostly because your tools don't talk together, and your one tool doesn't tell of a problem that it sees that this tool doesn't see. And by them working together, then they say, hey, this could be a problem, and then this will look into that problem. And so in a lot of cases, you think that all software is doing the same thing, and it's not. They're doing different functions, and because they're focused on different functions, then there are gaps in between the two. Now, if I'm not saying that a good person couldn't look at each individual one of those and actually come up with a synopsis that they can do, but why do you want to do that every day?
Right.
It's really one of those, but it's really hard.
It's I think as a small business owner, you have to ask yourself, where is my time best suited? And sure, you can go put these together. You can DIY together your security, but if you don't see the overlaps or the gaps where you're not overlapping, that's just what it makes me think of how good Two Fish's product is.
Can I also say this? If you are piecemealing that together and you spend, 1 or 2 year subscription of this and a 1 or 2 year subscription of that, by the time you piece all of those together and put all that money together, really, we might only be $10 a month apart to be able to get the full package.
Right.
And so we piecemeal all of it together. We bring better pricing and better ways of being able to do it. So I think, but when a customer starts, I think, you start your business, you have 1 or 2 computers and everything else. Well, you do what is called, your computer has an issue. Eventually you can't put up with it. Then you call somebody to come in and take care of it. They bill you for that. And we just go back and forth. They call that break fix. And so there's a time when a customer probably can do or should do, that I'd even recommend in certain cases, a break fix situation. Mm-hmm. You don't need a tech but once every 6 months or a year. Mm-hmm. It's not that much. It's not that often, and everything else. As you grow, I see that crowning. So basically, we went to a customer. In fact, Dave and I were talking to a customer yesterday, and so basically we were saying, well, they were doing so much in break fix that we got to compiling all that information, and we just went, for 20% more, you wouldn't have to even have that. You would have us as your own security department all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does get to a place that you will build from that mindset of doing it yourself to the mindset of just letting an expert take care of that. Now I can go out and do what I do. I can be a good accountant. So we're trying to get you to focus, or be able to focus on your business and not have to be concerned about why your computer is not talking to the printer.
Not be concerned about that, or be concerned if you are meeting all of the necessary mitigation tools and tactics for your insurance policy.
That's right.
Or I can see where we're having that, but I like the way that you do go through and explain. There are times that break fix or DIY makes sense, and if you're in that situation, maybe this discussion has helped someone to see that it's okay to be in that situation, or that I hate to say okay or acceptable, but scaling through a break fix or a DIY and then into a full-blown MSP situation is a stepping stone.
That's exactly how I see it.
And that's kind of rambling on through that.
Yeah, well, really, you can start small, and some company. Now, there are companies that I don't know that I'd recommend. If you're a doctor or a dentist starting out,
you need to.
Right. Patient information, HIPAA compliance, PCI, all of those things are important, and you have to have them. You don't want to drive yourself out of business because you don't have them. On the other hand, if you're an auto mechanic and you have one computer in the shop and all of your stuff is remote or in the cloud, it just gets to be a place that that's the customer that I talked to the other day, and I couldn't figure out a reason why he would use us.
Right.
I think he would be way safer with us, but I couldn't convince myself that he needed us at that particular point.
Well,
and so
you're just an honest man.
So that's exactly what I was doing. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Let's move on to the next couple of. We've got two more slides here.
Yep.
How to align budget with insurance requirements. We've talked about this at length, and really budgeting we've talked about at length. Cyber requirements, multi-factor authentication, endpoint detection and response, and just being able to show processes. Sometimes that's what's needed in order for your insurance carrier to say, yes, they did the mitigation that they should have done in order for the policy to be of use, and the claims process can move forward. Otherwise, your insurance company could just deny your claim if they feel like you haven't done what you needed to do based on their policy.
And talk about a waste of money.
Talk about a waste of money. And then, the insurance company, they're okay with it.
That's right.
But but that's where I don't think any insurance agent, and I'm really speaking to our hometown agents, they don't want to see any of their clients, any of the friends that they do business with, end up in a bad situation.
Right.
But sometimes maybe they're not even the policy expert the way they should be. Come into Two Fish. We would love to help you. If you're an agent, we would love to help your clients, or help you, get better associated with that policy language, because that's really where the meat of it is. If you're not following your policy language, you could be denied a claim
and in trouble.
And in trouble.
Now, what I believe that most companies, they go and get a general liability policy. Well, now, I think most companies don't realize that in a general liability policy, there is some cyber insurance attached to it now. So most of them have that factor. There's a lot of companies that could be listening to us right now that you don't even know that you have cyber coverage.
That's very true.
And so if you don't know, you're not going to actually dig into it unless you have a claim of some kind. And then you're going to say, oh, I have the cyber insurance. Oh, they're not going to pay because we didn't reach these 3 standards that we had to do in order for the payout to happen.
As a small business owner, do you know where your policy is? Do you know the language that's in that policy? And if you're saying no to any of those, you probably aren't familiar with the language and policy requirements for your cyber policy.
That's right.
Hey, that's why we want to have this show.
And I think that's an important point to reiterate if you wanted to say that one more time so everybody can hear it.
Which piece? Say it for us, Dave.
The last part where you're talking about the policies.
That it's important to know what's in them?
Yeah, okay. You can move on.
Oh, man.
Yep. That was great.
All right. So what's next? What's on our... Where do we take the budgeting conversation from here?
Budgeting conversation, we're talking about basically starting out as a break fix. That's one thing that you can do. Trying to find some tools to be able to do some employee training of some kind. But when you start growing into products kind of like we offer, and we bring some automation to take you out of that responsibility. So basically, we actually will. So our entire business model is to take care of the data of the systems that you have going, so you can focus on auto repair, or so you can focus on accounting work, or whatever it is that you do for a living. And so basically, but budgeting does have to start somewhere. And so, and we have talked about there being some tools. Number 2 was evaluate your current provider. If he's proactive or just patching problems. That's interesting. There are a lot of IT companies, and if you have one of these companies, is that they're just coming in and fixing whatever the problem is at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So so they're just running around getting tickets and trying to fix tickets based on problems. There are other systems out there that will proactively take care of the problems most of the time before you even know, or before they even arise.
And this is probably that place where you buy a new laptop, buy a new desktop, and it comes with a free antivirus. In my mind, this is where that free antivirus is sitting. It's just helping you to feel good that something's happening. It's not it being proactive about problems. And if you're not being proactive about the problems, then your defenses are down. And that's the way that I think through cybersecurity. But our last point here, ensure your security strategy aligns with insurance and compliance requirements. That's the piece that Dave was really wanting us to hit on again. And
Yep.
I think we've done that well throughout this series.
But it is good to repeat.
It is good to repeat.
Yep.
We are finishing up a cybersecurity budget planning checklist. We'll have that on the twofishtechnology.com website. We'll have links from our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We're here in our heart space to help small businesses secure themselves online. We just hate to hear about any small business, because it's happened personally in Amarillo, in our area, where friends, clients, they get ransomed, and it's such a heartbreak, because we never want to go through or hear about our friends going through something that just destroys their business and destroys everything they've worked for. So if you're ready to level up your defenses, you need to call Two Fish Technology. We are wanting to help walk through this road with you and assist you with your cybersecurity needs. I hope the echo wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad on my end. Of course, I'm only listening to myself and not the playback.
I didn't hear any.
Well, we'll try it again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Come back and see us. We will be more active on Facebook, letting you know what we're coming up and what new content we have, when we're going to have new shows up. Like I said, we're probably going to take next week off and gear up for the dental office vertical, and kind of work with what do dentist office need to be thinking about. Is it backups? Is it the remote managed portion? Where are their needs? But we want to hear from you. If you've got a business that you're unsure about how cyber can fit into it or what your needs would really be, call Two Fish Technology. Someone will come out and visit with you or sit down on the phone.
We would love to help.
We'd love to help.
That's right.
So anyways, Caleb Poole from Two Fish Technology and Fox 88 Consulting. Thanks for being here again with us on another Two Fish Tuesday. Like, subscribe, put some comments down, ask some questions, stump Robert with something, stump Jason with something, and we'll be back to see you again with more tips from Two Fish Technology.